I'm probably best known for my Fire Emblem content, but I love other games too, and one that I've done quite a few videos on in the past is the Paper Mario franchise. Or more specifically, the first two Paper Mario games, back when it was still an RPG series. And while Nintendo saw fit to abandon Paper Mario's brilliant systems as soon as they were refined, thankfully indie devs have made sure these battle mechanics will not be lost to the sands of time. Not only have there been titles taking individual mechanics from Paper Mario, such as Hollow Knight lifting the badge system or Expedition 33 taking action commands, but there are also a few dedicated indie titles that aim to recapture the magic of the Thousand Year Door, most notably Bug Fable's Born of Bread and, the subject of today's video, Escape from Ever After, which is a brand new RPG releasing on January 23rd. For disclosure purposes, I was given early access to a copy of this game and provided with a key for free, but this is not a sponsored video. The developer, Sleepy Castle Studio, did not pay me anything to make content. Instead, I felt this game's release was exciting enough that I wanted to inform my audience of it and make a review to help you decide whether or not it's worth the purchase for you. With all that rigmarole out of the way, let's dive into what this game is about. An evil megacorporation called Ever After Incorporated has learned how to travel inside of books. So naturally, they've used this groundbreaking technology to exploit new worlds for resources and convince the naive storybook characters to become cheap labor in their ever-expanding company. You play as a ragtag group of fairy tale characters who are trying to take down Ever After Incorporated and restore the storybooks to the wonderful existence they used to have. As you can probably expect, this premise leads to dark humor about giant corporations, as well as just some classic office workplace gags. But perhaps more interestingly, the idea of jumping between storybooks allows this game to have a vibrant collection of settings, each of whom has their own personality in spades. To give a few early examples, you start the game breaking out of a castle dungeon, and then have to travel to the Three Little Pigs, where you find yourself navigating a peaceful meadow, a magical forest, and a construction site headed up by the titular Oinkers. However, upon entering Chapter 2, there's a massive tonal shift because you are now in Shadow over Innsbeak, which, in case you can't tell from the title, is basically what if Lovecraft was a bird. As the game continues, you'll go to other exciting settings with the eventual goal of breaking out into the real world to give your corporate masters the what for. It's generally quite a great narrative, and I found myself simultaneously invested in the story and laughing at the jokes. A rare combination for a game to pull off. The visuals and music are also on point. The game's got an upbeat, jazzy soundtrack that I can't get out of my head. Seriously, I'll start humming it while doing random housework, it is that good. And of course, the papercraft style looks phenomenal, especially with how expressive our main characters are. During my streams, I constantly had to pause during cutscenes to remark about how much I loved Flint's expressions, but this applies to everyone in the cast, not just our primary heroes. It really is amazing how consistently committing to a visual style will make your game look 10 times better than the next-gen realistic graphics at a tenth of the price. But I know for many people, the visuals, story, and music are all going to be secondary concerns, as often the biggest factor in enjoying a game is the gameplay. And this is another area where Ever After Inc. does not disappoint. The combat occurs in a classic turn-based battle system. Anytime your party members use an attack or ability, there's going to be an action command that you can use to boost its effects. For example, when Flint tosses his buckler at foes, you can press A with perfect timing to toss it a second time. And when Wolfgang plays his lyre, you need to strum up and then down with correct timing, or the attack will fail. These action commands are relatively simple, basically falling between Mario Party minigames and QuickTime events, but they help keep you on your toes and make the gameplay more than just a selection from menus. If you've played any of the Paper Mario games or the spiritual successors inspired by them, you're well familiar with this. But Escape from Ever After also adds its own unique gameplay twists, the most prominent of which is the synergy meter. At first, I thought this functioned just like star power, as it's a resource that builds with every successful action command, and you can build it with Encourage, which is a tactic that echoes focus from the Paper Mario series. And in some ways, this assessment is true. Each party member has a special synergy attack that serves as their ultimate ability, and it consumes synergy instead of MP. Additionally, anyone in the party can use synergy for restoration, which heals all party members, active or inactive, and recovers some of your MP for special abilities. But synergy is used for more than just these special commands. When swapping party members, normally this consumes your turn. But if you spend a point of synergy, then you can swap as a free action, similar to the effects of the Quick Change badge. Additionally, if an active party member gets knocked out, the way you revive them is through Health Share, an action that halves the living party member's HP in order to revive their friend. But in order to perform this feat, you need to once again spend a point of synergy. The fact that the resource has so many different applications really makes synergy stand out and feel like something different than just a second MP meter. The battlefield is also laid out differently from Paper Mario, allowing for more unique and dynamic enemy formations. In addition to enemies being grounded, flying, or on the ceiling, sometimes foes will stack on top of each other. And this means any jump attacks can't hit the lowest member of the stack, whereas grounded attacks cannot hit the highest ones. Although you can take advantage of this with a few abilities that hit a full vertical column. Foes will also mix things up by equipping spiked hats to prevent them from being jumped on, spiked weapons in the front, which will hurt anyone that stands close to them, or shields that block and prevent all damage both to that unit and anyone behind them. You can burn wooden shields with fiery attacks, but metal ones are going to require more complex tactics, either by jumping on a foe's head in order to get around the shield, or by using stronger abilities to disarm them altogether. Because of this, every member of your party feels useful depending on the situation. And that's good because unlike the Paper Mario games where Mario is the main character and the partners play a secondary role, here all 5 of your party members are fully fleshed out with large and customizable kits. And this customization is done through the trinket system, which is equivalent to Paper Mario's badges. When equipped, trinkets give access to special abilities or passive effects, but each one has a requirement of a certain amount of TP or trinket points. Each party member has their own TP and can be kitted out with appropriate trinkets to buff them. The passive effects can be equipped to anyone, so whoever you want to have extra health can equip the Health Boost TP. However, each character also gets their own set of unique attack trinkets that can only be equipped to them. So, for example, the starting character Flint gets Buckler Barrage, which lets him hit all grounded enemies, Buckler Blitz, which allows him to jump on enemies' heads, or Backwards Buckler, which allows him to attack an enemy from the rear, thusly ignoring any shields. Choosing which or how many of these abilities to equip allows you to customize your character's toolkit. And a further element of customization exists with the ink bottle system, as ink bottles are a key item that you can use with a specific vendor to upgrade your abilities. For example, if you spend ink bottles upgrading Flynn's Buckler Blitz, then the jumps will now pierce enemy armor. choosing which tools to equip and what ones to upgrade will allow you to sculpt your party to your liking. Although, in any given battle, you can only ever have 2 party members out. But unlike in Paper Mario, you can have any 2 members of your choosing out. Flint isn't required for every fight. And on the first turn of battle, you can freely swap who is out without spending synergy. Which is a huge relief to me personally, because my least favorite part of Paper Mario was running around the overworld trying to solve a puzzle with Bombette, only to get ambushed by an enemy who's better handled with Cooper. On that topic, I do want to briefly talk about overworld puzzles, because while they're not the primary appeal of this game, they are still a portion you're going to be engaging with quite a lot. And in my opinion, these overworld puzzles are really good. They strike the perfect balance for me. They're not quite Zelda puzzles, which are just so easy as to be time wasters, but they're also not so difficult that you're going to be spending an hour trying to figure out how to get to the next screen. And when you finally find a solution to something you've been staring at for a couple of minutes, you feel like a genius. Putting together the various party members' overworld abilities in a way that completes the task you're trying to accomplish just feels good. And those are my overall feelings about Escape Forever After. It's just a darn good video game. On my opinion, it is at least of the quality of Thousand Year Door, but considering it lacks some of that game's more egregious flaws like backtracking or annoying jump on the sleeping bomb moments, I think there's a case to be made that this is just the best game following the Paper Mario formula. It's even got an optional hard mode if you find the Paper Mario games a bit too easy. Although full transparency, the early build I got access to didn't have hard mode, so I can't comment on how well or poorly it's balanced. So if you're a fan of Mario RPGs, or just a fan of RPGs in general, I would definitely consider checking this one out. It drops on PC and all major consoles tomorrow, January 23rd, and to celebrate the release, I'm going to be playing through the Tower of Trials, this game's take on the Pit of 100 Trials. If you want to see what the game's like, consider jumping in, or check out the link below to purchase it on Steam. I'm not being sponsored by the game or anything, but I really want it to succeed because I think it's great and I would love to see more games in this style. But that brings us to the end of our video, so it's time to thank my patrons. Thank you to EVVVVVVVVV, Femtal Illness, Wannabe Cinnabon, Punk Tattoo Guy, Key the Iron Idol, Calamity Callie, Jackson McMahon, Saren Girlixy, Rezi, Andu, Rhea, Gameboo, Karosa, Fyron, Your Doctor, Frozen Helm, Patwit, Electric Giga, Girl Boss, Lizard Bongwater, Christopher Bueno, Marin McLean, Jaden, Dylan Solis, Some Trades, Squeegee555, Smaz Ruby, Zycrom, Robin D, Alenby, Hound Dogs, They Thumb, Clan Clan, Pillow Willow, Glup Shido, Erica Ford, Perg Knight, YLO1, George Grenville, The 7th PM, Jamie Collins, Arvis, Crispy Matthews, Flo Hay, Amy Hazel, Hungry Heart, Lovis Roman, Shinthia, Faulty Videos, Kyle Madison, Derek Williams, Anna Cabana, The Daily Fugel, Faye, Magic Bite, Thoughtful Insanity, Robin Goodfeller, JT Spritter, Ziggy WSB, Dysike, Chris, Root Beer Pants, Queen Elizam, Control Tejas, Roman Chromantic, Knick Knack Hammersmack, Carrier Has Left, Angel Nut Caceres, Zanwiff, Not Gino, Flangon, Edward C, Cyrockin 2, Cabbage, SUP, Caius Cole, Bree, Punchfighter Champion, Eggman, Maxine the Vampire Queen, Dragonback Lancer, Sardonic Muse, Zero Gamer, and especially my Jagans, Your Best Friend 9000, Adele, Alexander Roper, Sensitive Luigi, Siggy, and Lil Man Man. There's a link to my Patreon below if you're interested in joining. But regardless of what you choose to do, I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, gamers.